people not hear me now? How about now, Jen?
We can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me start again to everyone. I'm going to start from the beginning. Okay, sorry about that. Jen, should I start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Jen? Okay, let me start from the beginning. I have Jen, our producer here. So hello. Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. Sorry for that false start. Welcome to Dr. Shiva Live. And I'm really happy to talk to you a little bit about what's going on with vitamin C and how Fauci has flip-flopped his position and why he needs to be fired, and particularly exposing him on the reprehensible way he's been acting in terms of being very, very nebulous on the power of vitamin C. That's what we're going to talk about today. So before I start, as I just shared, was everyone needs to know that my name is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. Everyone says, Shiva, you got to tell people what your credentials are. I'm an MIT PhD in a field called biological engineering. I created the first email system when I was a 14-year-old kid while I was working in a university as a research fellow. But I'm a scientist, I'm an inventor, started many companies, invented many things, some of them which I'll share with you. But the bottom line is, right now, I've also decided to run for US Senate, in addition to still being a scientist and an inventor. And the reason I'm running for US Senate is because we have a lot of incompetent people in there, lawyer lobbyists. And if you look right now, these people slept on the job and they allowed the thugs like the WHO, the CDC, the Gates Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, the Zuckerberg Foundation, all these people to pull a fast one on us to create this quote unquote pandemic, to crash our economy with the intent of pushing mandated medicines on all of us and with the intent of enslaving us so we don't fight back. And this was done on the guard of many of these lawyer lobbyist politicians. And the reason I'm running is because it's time that you have real warriors like myself who will fight, who will expose these people. And remember, I was the first guy to expose Fauci. We started the hashtag Fire Fauci campaign. We have, I think we're close to 100,000. We need another, I think 10 or 12,000 more things to get rid of this guy. I will be delivering all of those petition votes to the president. So first of all, let me take you quickly to our campaign website so you understand what's going on there. If everyone goes to ShivaForSenate.com, ShivaForSenate.com, you'll see an awesome site our volunteers have built. Everything we do is done by volunteers, really support our campaign. And if you go to that site, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. You will see our website here. And right here, you will see this is a Shiva for Senate site. When you get time, please go to it. But you'll see one of the important things on this website is that we have just revised it recently to make it more. Everyone said, Shiva, Dr. Shiva, we really love your videos. So right up on the top, we have these truthfreedomhealth.com. It's a tab. And if you go here, right here, you can see all the Truth Freedom Health videos. It's really an educational library. You'll learn about the time for truth on the coronavirus, about vitamin C. You learn what is a not so obvious establishment today. We really hammered on Robbie Kennedy Jr. and Bill Gates, how they really are people who don't really care about us. They're part of the establishment. But everyone should go here, enjoy this. Obviously, people should go to our website and know that we're running for Senate. And one of the key things of my US Senate race is to teach everyone how the body is a system. So if you go up to the website and you click on this donate link, you will see that I'm offering everyone who wants to support the campaign, whatever you can afford. We were originally doing it for $25. You get an awesome book. It's an ebook online and your body, your system tool, which really teaches you how your body is a system. And by the way, if you can't afford that, pay $5, $10. And if you can't afford that, send me an email to vashiva@vashiva.com. And I'll help you figure out how we can help you in other ways. So that's what the website is about. And people should take a chance to go up there and check that out. The other thing that I want to talk about today is that I really want to go into talking about vitamin C again, talking about how Fauci has flip-flopped his position and why he must be fired. And again, if you go to that website, ShivaForSenate.com, you will actually see a link there which will take you to the Fire Fauci page. And maybe I'll share it again so everyone has it right up here. So if you go to the website here, I'll bring it here. Right up on top, you can go take action, and it says petition Fire Fauci. Take action, petition Fire Fauci. And over here, you'll see there's a great petition, which really, this symbol that I put together really shows Fauci's who he's really loyal to. And we're up to about, wow, almost going to hit 6,000. So we're at 14,000 away. So fire Fauci, get on there and sign up. Let's get it up to, by Monday, I want to get it up to 100,000. So that's what we should be doing on the Fire Fauci campaign. Let me bring it back here. So what we want to talk about is vitamin C, that it is a proven, very powerful at high doses, particularly for people in critical care, a very powerful way to actually lower that cytokine storm. In fact, a paper just came out. It just came out, I think came out in April, and came out online in April. It's going to be published in June of 2020, and I'll walk you through that. So I try to keep everyone up to date. It's a lot of effort in the midst of running a Senate campaign, keeping my companies going, but I think this is a very educational part. So I hope, oh, no sound, no audio. Jen, can everyone have sound and audio now? Was that just old comments? Just want to make sure. Jen? I think that, yeah, good. Great, good. Everyone go up and sign up. Everyone go up and sign up. Great. So let me walk you through now. I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint. I have a really cool new tool I'm using that really makes all of this really nice. Okay, so over here, let's go to the PowerPoint. And what I want to walk you through over here, if I can move this over here, is that, first of all, as people know, my entire goal is really to create the future. And if you go to the website, vashiva.com, you'll see that I'm running for Senate. But as I said, I've been an innovator. But one of the biggest innovations that I've done recently is a very powerful technology called CytoSolve. CytoSolve is a creation that I wrote all the code with my own hands. It really is a very powerful way for people to understand how, let me just 1 second here. I just want to make sure I'm hiding the comments here, because we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, where I can see people over here, and I do not want to do this. 1 second. Yeah, so I do not want to take down that comment. Yes, the site again. So let's put it here. Okay, so there's another comment out there. Okay, so what we have here is, I'm going to hide this comment here. So what we have with CytoSolve is a very powerful technology that really allows us to model molecular pathways, and I'll come back to that. But that's one of the cool things I work on. What I want to walk you through here was, this was something that just recently came out. This is actually, I'm sorry, this is not something that recently came out. So I want to walk you through Fauci's position. Here's an article that came out in January 19th, 2016. I hope everyone can see this. Jen, can everyone see this? Things all right? So if people can see this here, this is an article that came out in January of 2016. And what does this article says is how to avoid getting sick when you're already around people all day. So think about that. How to avoid getting sick when you're around people all day. How to avoid getting sick when you're around people all day. Okay? And this is an interview that was done with no one else but Anthony Fauci, our expert. It says, Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of NIH's National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases since 1984. It's a long time. Fauci's been in there way too long. Who oversees research in preventing, diagnosing, and treating infectious diseases from flu to HIV. So I want to walk you through how he's really, played around with his position on vitamin C. Look what he says here. Well, he says, first, our expert, Anthony Fauci, blah, 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 he goes, wash your hands often. Okay, wash your hands. He goes, I clip my nails often. He talks about that. But look what he says. Look what Anthony Fauci says in January of 2016, a little more than 4 years ago. Take vitamin C. That's what Anthony Fauci says. Take vitamin C. It can enhance your body's defense against microbes. I take 1,000 milligrams a day. Many people also do not get enough vitamin D, which affects a lot of people's body functions. So that would be helpful too. Can you believe this? This is Anthony Fauci. And look what he's saying. And President Trump, I'm very happy to know that President Trump got my letter. So I know he's got an eye on this goofball, okay? And I know President Trump is a very smart guy. He knows this guy's a goofball, okay? Look what he says. How to avoid getting sick when you're around people all day. Okay, and what does Mr. Fauci say? Take vitamin C. It can enhance, quote unquote, your body's defense against microbes. That's what I've been saying for the last 2 months. And now the media is picking it up because it's so obvious. And then he says, I take 1,000 milligrams a day, which is what I wrote to the president we should take for healthy people. Then he said, many people also do not get enough vitamin D, which affects a lot of people's body function. That would be helpful too. So why isn't Anthony Fauci saying this? Why isn't this guy saying this? The reason he isn't saying it is because he's part of that cabal. Bill Gates, Hillary Clinton, Zuckerberg, WHO, CDC, Chinese Communist Party. They want to crash economies. They want to impose mandated medicine, create a surveillance state. This is like black and white, guys. This is what he said in 2016. Now watch how he's nebulous. I'll talk to you how he's now. This is what came out in Real Clear Politics. This was about probably a couple weeks ago. And look what Fauci says here in his discussion with Cuomo. He goes, yeah, vitamin C are very good against mitigating certain effects. And others say there's no effect. You see, he's waffling. He's waffling. He's not taking a position like he did 4 years ago. It's essentially totally harmless unless you take it in ridiculous amounts. What does he mean by ridiculous amounts? Which is high dose vitamin C. He knows it's valuable. But now he's sort of putting it down. And when it comes to vitamin D, he says there's no definite proof when there is definite proof. I don't know what this guy needs, but clearly he's not taking this very clear position, which is in an article, which is how to avoid getting sick. Instead of, that's what he does. Instead, he's been promoting social distancing, isolating people. He clearly says here how to avoid getting sick when you're around people. Boom. He says, take high dose vitamin C. And here, when he's talking to Chris Cuomo, who's a nut job, he's telling us that, well, he doesn't know, don't take it in ridiculous amounts. Okay, let's look at the science. This paper, this is why I was a little bit delayed. I almost got delayed. This paper, look at the date. June, it's going to be published June 12th. If everyone goes on Instagram, June 12th, 2020. And this paper came out just 2 days ago, April 21st. Intravenous vitamin C for reduction of cytokine storm in acute respiratory distress syndrome. This just came out. And then it says the recent outbreak of COVID-19 has required urgent treatments for numerous patients. No suitable vaccines and antivirals are available for COVID-19. The efficiency against COVID-19 of WHO therapies of choice that are two antivirals developed for other pathologies is controversial. Therefore, alternative approaches are required. Intravenous vitamin C has emerged as one of the other alternatives for this purpose. Here we review the effects of IV vitamin C on the immune system, the antiviral properties, etc. Again, this is what I've been sharing with you, publishing with you online. And what you find here is this is their conclusions from this paper. Let's look at the conclusions from the paper that just came out a few days ago. This is what it says. It is believed that IV vitamin C has been particularly effective by inhibiting the production of the cytokine storm. Then look at this. Appropriate clinical studies and reports demonstrate, it's not like we don't know, demonstrate that a timely administration of high-dose IV vitamin C improves the outcome of COVID-19 infections. There you go. That's what this says. And it says, obviously, we should do additional clinical studies. That's sort of the CYA statement. But it clearly says that it improves the outcome of COVID-19 infections. Before I talked about ARDS, acute respiratory, this is talking about COVID-19. So are you telling me that Anthony Fauci doesn't read this? This is what he's supposed to do. He should be having this paper on his desk. I got it. I just found it a couple of hours ago when I started seeing his contradiction. Now, to educate everyone, as people know what I've shared before, that big pharma fundamentally is failing. So I want to hit this to everyone. People need to understand that big pharma is failing. They're not making money from pharmaceutical drugs. This is why Fauci does not promote vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin C, everything I've been saying, everything in the letter I sent to President Trump. Again, if you go to ShivaForSenate.com and you go to Take Action, you'll see that letter there. It's a letter that got delivered to the White House. And I'm very confident he read it, etc. But the point is that pharma is failing. And this is how much they're failing. Look at this. Year over year, they spend the orange line more and more and more in R&D. They're not finding new drugs. In fact, their drugs aren't being allowed by the FDA because they kill people. The FDA is not allowing pharmaceutical drugs out to the market. This is the FDA because they are actually unhealthy to people. That's what's going on. Their drugs are not working. And I got to plug in my machine here. Hey, Michelle, I need your help. So what's going on here is that their drugs are not working. One second, guys. Before I lose juice here, let me just set this up. Always something. If it's not one thing, it's something else. There you go. Okay, so the pharmaceutical drug industry is failing, okay? They're big time failing. Thanks, Michelle. They're big time failing, and you can see year over year, they're spending money here on this curve here, right, that you see there, and it's not working for them. And they're losing money because they're not producing enough drugs. So as many of you know, I'm a researcher, I'm a scientist, I'm not a lawyer lobbyist. That's why you need people like me in the Senate, because I'm going to call these guys out. And I study this day in and day out. I've been a medical researcher for nearly 40 years, since I was a 14-year-old kid. But if you look at the human cell, what my work showed is you can model this as on. So I've created technology that you can really convert the cell into a series of molecular reactions, and we can really model chemical reactions. And these are these chemical reactions that I'm able to take from the literature, integrate them, and model them with CytoSolve. And that's this technology where I can treat very complex mechanisms as independent molecular pathways and bring them together to model very complex diseases and biomolecular functions. And I've written papers on this, et cetera. But one of the things is this was the old model of the immune system, just two boxes, the innate and the adaptive. Pathogen comes in, your innate system, which is all the stuff in your eyes, your nose, your mucous membranes, the macrophages try to take out that pathogen. And then in the old model of the immune system, then it went over to your adaptive immune system, which were like sharpshooters, which created antibodies. But the reality is, I just gave this lecture at the National Science Foundation several months ago. This is the modern science of the immune system, which I presented. It's not just this two-box model. It's a much more complex system. It includes our gut microbiome, the interferon system, our brain. All of these things are connected. So what you find the end result is that the immune system is quite interesting. Our immune system actually involves our cells, our 6 trillion human cells. It involves 60 trillion bacteria. It involves 380 trillion viruses, and then a small number of fungi. This is who we are. And the viruses, this is what people need to understand. It's not the viruses. It's not the viruses, everyone should understand. It's not the viruses that kill us. It's the actual overreaction of the immune system. That's what actually harms us. It's the overreaction of the immune system when your immune system is compromised. And there's also underlying conditions. I get tons of calls. I just got a call from some guys, a 35-year-old guy. They said one of their friends got COVID and he died. And I said, what was his pre-existing condition? Well, he said he was enormously obese. Okay, he had diabetes. So these are the people that are being affected because their immune systems are compromised. And the environment, dirty air, dirty water, dirty food, which the lawyer lobbyists do not want to address. And when a cytokine storm takes place at the cellular level, this is, for example, the macrophages, the cytokine storm occurs here. All this enormous acute respiratory distress takes place in your body, okay? Because what's happening is your body is overreacting. It's freaking out. It starts overreacting. And for example, we'll come back to this. This is a story of a critically ill doctor in Los Angeles. I shared this earlier. He was a critically ill doctor who was working in the emergency room. And guess what happened to him? On March 12th, Paget became a patient, which was on his wedding day. And I'll come back to that. And they gave him high-dose vitamin C, and it helped him. But if you look at your lungs, this is inside your lungs looking at one little alveolus. When that cytokine storm takes place, when your body overreacts, because a virus is essentially hanging out here, your body's overreacting. Watch what happens. Your little beautiful little alveolus gets filled up with fluid. They call it pulmonary edema. So this is filled up with fluid. This is a cytokine storm action. So you're basically starting to drown. Now, the concept of at this point is when we should be really giving people, at that point when people lungs are filling up, and before it even gets there, we should be giving the high dose pharmaceutical dose vitamin C. And that's what that paper talks about. And that's what Fauci's waffling about, because he wants to be vaccine meister. He wants to be big pharma's guy. But he does not want to talk about the fact when you actually look at the science, and that's what I'm sharing with you, and I'm sure Fauci can read these papers if he wishes to. What you see here is that when the cytokine storm takes place, the body essentially fills up with these, I got to start this. The body fills up with edema. And at that point, your body fills up with fluid and you're starting to choke, or you're starting to essentially drown, which is a bunch of emergency room doctors have seen. And we know these ventilators you have only a 5 or 10% chance of survival. Okay, maybe 20 on a good day. That's what's going on. This is an article that came out in USA News and Today. So when you really look at it, when you start doing high pressure ventilate, when you start putting a ventilator into, which is what also happened to this ER doctor, he was placed on a ventilator, and doctors figured he had 1 day to live, a day or so to live. And what's happening is when you push that high pressure down to that, little beautiful alveolus, one of those little organelles in your lungs, you're sending in more pressure. And what does that do? Your volume is already smaller. Pressure increases according to Boyle's law, and you basically are causing more damage. So that's what's going on here. So instead of giving high dose vitamin C, instead of the V of vitamin C, they're giving the V of ventilator. $40,000 to purchase this. Someone's making a lot of money here. Vitamin C, pennies. And the waffling of Fauci is why he should be fired, because he knows what I'm saying is true. And so what happened with this guy is they said, we're not done. We're going to put him on an experimental realm. And you know what they did? They acknowledge, if you read this article, the doctors acknowledge what I've been saying for the last 2 months, that the body goes into a cytokine storm. So you have the virus particles in the epithelial, your body, again, a compromised immune system is attacking it, and it undergoes, as these doctors are fortunately sharing with the Los Angeles Times, unfortunately it was printed, it says a syndrome known as a cytokine storm. That's what was happening to this ER doctor. So this is where vitamin C is important. What are the mechanisms of vitamin C? He goes, our role was to quiet the storm. And what do? They supplemented with high dose vitamin C. They gave an immunosuppressive drug, but they gave it with high dose vitamin C, which Fauci is saying, may not be healthy. Ridiculous high doses. Well, you need to go high dose in a critical condition, but he's not saying that. And that was just March 26th. And by the way, there's tons of papers written on vitamin C, just like the one I shared, tons and tons of them. Here's one. Vitamin C may reduce the duration of mechanical ventilation in critically ill patients. Maybe Fauci should be reading this, but he won't, because he's in pharma's pocket. He's in big vaccines pocket. Same here. Vitamin C can shorten the length of stay in the ICU, a meta-analysis, and so on. Vitamin C supplementation of the critically ill, a systematic review. What that means is they took many, many research and they distilled it. Maybe Fauci should be reading this. And even in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, this journal is very conservative, pro-pharma. And even they are admitting, vitamin C compared with placebo is associated with a significant reduction in 28-day all-cause mortality. And this paper said, they actually manipulated the data even in that conservative analysis. So the bottom line is I want to leave you with this education, because that's really what I want to do for everyone. I'm running, as everyone knows, for US Senate. People should go to the Shiva for Senate page, because we're running on a platform, and I just want on truth, freedom, and health. And that's about, we need to have freedom, open discourse, not people like Fauci controlling the discourse. And with freedom, we can practice real science, which means we can get to truth, understanding things like, hey, vitamin C does work. And with real truth, and then we can get to real solutions, which gives health. Right now, we're killing thousands of people who should not have been killed because we're not giving them high dose IV vitamins. We're literally killing them. And on top of it, we're isolating people. And even Fauci himself admits that if you took vitamin C, he takes 1,000 milligrams, that he's fine. It's a way to protect your body. That's what he acknowledged in January of 2016. This entire thing is one of the biggest fear-mongering hoaxes. And Fauci knows what he's talking about, okay? Because he himself takes vitamin C to protect himself, as I shared. What does vitamin C do? Well, vitamin C, remember, when your body attacks itself, when you're immunocompromised, vitamin C modulates the immune system, so it doesn't do that. It quells it. It makes it, calm down. It's an antioxidant. It's an anti-inflammatory, and it's an antiviral, all acknowledged in the literature. So one of the ways vitamin C works, here it comes in. By the way, this is a macrophage, one of those immune cells which is trying to attack the virus. And here, when it's in a dysfunctional state, the immune cell is actually attacking your own body, the cytokine storm. And one of the things that happens is there's a very interesting chemical called GAPDH. You don't have to, no one's going to be tested. That chemical increases. And what vitamin C does is it creates reactive oxygen species, as you can see through this pathway, these things, and these reactive oxygen species go pummel that GAPDH down, so it quells it down. It's like putting the cytokine storm to sleep. That's what one thing vitamin C does. The other thing vitamin C does is, here's a cytokine storm on the right here. It's starting. Vitamin C does two things. It's an antioxidant. It goes, eats up all the reactive oxygen species. Because when your lungs are filling up and you're starting to drown, there's all these ROSs. Just think about them as a chemical it's oxidizing your body. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant. The third thing vitamin C does is it inhibits inflammation. There's a chemical called NF-kappa beta, and vitamin C inhibits that. That's the third thing vitamin C does. Then the last thing vitamin C does is antiviral. The virus comes into your cell, like as you can see here, it enters your cell and it starts replicating its own nucleic acid because it's trying to reassemble itself. The virus actually uses your own cell to replicate itself. So here it's coming in. Here let me make it a little bit bigger here. As you can see in this diagram over here, it's coming in and it's replicating itself right here. It makes its own nucleic acids, which are this. Well, vitamin C stops that. Then the nucleic acids get packaged into the cell. Well, it stops that. And then it stops the transport out. So it's quite phenomenal that vitamin C has this profound effect on multiple levels. It stops the virus replication, stops the virus transport, stops the entire assembly of the virus inside your own body. It's an antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, and it modulates the cytokine storm. Anthony Fauci knows it. He takes it himself, when he's around other people. This is how he protects himself. Yet, he has not recommended this at all as a regimen. And that's what's criminal. And that's why we say that we need to fire Fauci. We need to fire Fauci, and the American people need people like myself, inventors, scientists, engineers, especially in the time that we're living in right now. We're living in a moment in history that science and engineering truly matter. Science and engineering actually do matter because we live in a world now that without science and engineering, you can really BS people. And that BSing is what's taking place. We have a world right now that is very, very easy to lie to people, to cheat them. And so I want to end with encouraging people that when you go here to Shiva for Senate, one of the most important things that we're doing here, let me go here. I have too many sites open here. See which one I'm at. Let me go back here. One second, guys. Got too many windows open here. There we are. So one of the things that we have here is on if you go to the website here, shivaforsenate.com, which I'm going to bring up here. It's a little bit harder I know to see. Make it bigger. I hope that's okay. Can everyone see that? So if you're here, if you go to shivaforsenate.com, you will see that on this site, there is a petition right here. And I'm going to make the site a little bit bigger. If you go to the website, right here, there's a petition right up here which says Fire Fauci. So if you go to that website right now, everyone should be going to it. Simply scroll down right here and fill out your name. And let's get this up to, wow, we got some more. Okay. So we need another 14,000 to fire Fauci. That's one of the important things to send a signal that we're not going to be BS'd anymore by people who actually know what's good, but they're not acting on it. The other thing, as I mentioned earlier, is when you go to our website, people should really take advantage of the fact that our entire campaign is about truth, freedom, and health. We want to educate everyone on the power of how your body functions. We want to educate people on a systems approach. So when people come and support the campaign, if you give 25 or more, you get an amazing book, which really teaches you how the body is a system, and you get access to your body, your system, which is a very powerful tool. And I show you here where you can use to understand the dynamics and engineering systems approach to understand your body. So if you go here, you'll see a really cool way that you answer a set of questions. It figures out the forces of transport, conversion, and storage in your body. That determines your particular body type. Then you can take another set of questions and it determines how your body type is off, basically when you're weakened or dysfunctional from your system state. And then you can figure out the effect. This is not a medical site. We're not claiming we're going to help heal you, but it teaches you how foods and exercises actually can manipulate and bring you back to your what we call your natural system state. So that's what people should do. People should go to Shiva for Senate and really support this extraordinary campaign, this journey that we're on, all of us together. But most importantly, I think the opportunity for everyone is to recognize that it's time that we elect people into office. No more lawyer lobbyists. It's time that I believe you have people in office who actually care for you, who actually understand physics and science. And in summary, if I put this back up here, you'll see right here that here's the conclusion with vitamin C. It increases cellular immunity, white blood cells, neutrophils, macrophages. It's very powerful. It increases the humoral activity of your adaptive system, what's called your B cells. It increases antiviral proteins. It increases energy by providing necessary electrons and movement for mitochondrial function. The mitochondria is extremely important. It's really, literally the energy powerhouse of your body. And the other is it limits the main source of fuel of pathogenic organisms, okay, which is sugar. Remember, you eat too much sugar, your body puts out candida, which creates gliotoxins, which snuff out your macrophages and snuff out your T cells, which are two very important cylinders of your very complex immune system. And vitamin C allows you to maintain structural integrity of your cells by, supporting collagen formation. So it's very powerful. And so, again, unlike what Fauci says, vitamin C for critically ill, no side effects. There you go. So anyway, everyone, I hope this was valuable. We can take some questions. Jen, should we take any questions up here? Any questions you're seeing? Let's see here. So someone says here, thank you for giving your valuable time. Sure, no problem. Look, America deserves, the world deserves people who actually want to solve problems. Again, I repeat that what we're witnessing right now is one of the biggest betrayals of the lawyer lobbyist class. They slept. They're incompetent. They don't know the difference between a vaccine. They don't know the difference between a cure. They don't even know what immune health is. They can't talk to you like this. They can't call out Fauci. Only people like me can do that, who came from working class backgrounds, went through the process, earned our degrees, didn't lie that we were, Native Americans. And it's time that you have someone like me in the US Senate. You need that. America needs that, because we should never have lost 22 million jobs and all these people should not have died. That's why Fauci needs to be fired. That's why we need no longer lawyer lobbyists who are incompetent, who don't give a damn about you. They just want to maintain power, get elected and reelected. So that's what we want to talk about. Let me look over here. Someone says here, it's all about big pharma. Exactly. And that comes from Paula. That's what this is about. Fauci takes vitamin C for himself 4 years ago, says it's a way to protect yourself. Why did we do all of this? Why didn't Fauci say that let's boost up our vitamin C and get back to work? That's what I wrote in the letter to the president. Healthy people, boost up your vitamin C, take some vitamin DNA, and let's get back to work. But instead of doing that, what Fauci has done is to shut down the entire economy. He's held us all hostage. What else do we have here? Fire Fauci. Yep, here we go. This is a call. Fire Fauci. Fire Fauci. Fire Fauci. That's what we need to do. And it's not about him as an individual. This is about sending a signal that we have smart people like Dr. SHIVA Ayyadurai, who's going to win the US Senate seat from Massachusetts and who's going to come after people like this to protect the American people. That's what we need. You need inventors. You need scientists. You need people like myself who've been working hard all my life on your behalf and who's not going to let this happen ever again. In fact, in the last 8 weeks, most people know the amount of videos I produce. We've created a wave across the world. So intelligent people like the founders of this country, people who understand science and engineering like Washington and Jefferson and Franklin, that's who created the United States of America. They were children of the Enlightenment. Those people would have called out people like Fauci, but we have a bunch of incompetent fools in Congress, and you got to stop voting for them. You got to vote for guys like me. And I'm saying this with all humility because it's really disgusting, because had I been in the US Senate, you have no idea what would have occurred much even faster. If you replace Fauci, the deep state would be so pissed. It would be the best thing ever to watch you instead of Fauci. Look, it's what Fauci represents is the deep state. Anyway, I appreciate everyone's feedback, and please go to the website. Let everyone know we have to win on the ground here, because the Republican establishment, they don't like me. I'm running as a Republican. I don't care for either party. And the Democratic establishment doesn't want me. I'm running against 3 lawyer lobbyists. We have amazing volunteers on the ground. We're the first to get on the ballot. We must fire Fauci, and we must put Shiva for Senate. Anyway, thank you, everyone. By the way, I'll be doing a talk at 9 p.m. today on a real solution to big tech censorship. It's something that I've talked about for many years, and I think we can make it occur. But the reason a lot of this stuff is not getting out is because Google and Facebook think they own the internet, that it's theirs. And I have a solution for that. So at 9:15 p.m., we'll be talking about my solution, the inventor of email solution for big tech censorship. Anyway, I wish everyone well. And thank you, Melissa. And thank all of you. And have a good evening. Everyone I'm going to go get some dinner. I haven't eaten all day, but I wish you well. Thank you.